Greetings adventurers and welcome to ADV in Japan. So today we're going to do a boot review. I've got two excellent boots right here with me. On the left here we have the Forma ADV Tourer that utilizes the Drytech waterproof system. And then we've got the Alpinestars Tech7. This is the Drystar waterproof version. Now you may be wondering why I'm doing two boots instead of just one. Well, the adventure riding category is very broad. It includes anything from road to single track off-road riding. And these boots kind of represent the opposite ends of that spectrum. So my hope is that by the end of this review, that you guys have a really good idea of what boot is going to work for you. It may or may not be one of these boots. It may be something kind of in between what these boots are, but I definitely feel like you're going to get a really, really good idea of what kind of boot is going to work for you. So if you are in the market for a new pair of boots, if you're in the market for your first pair of adventure boots, then go ahead and smash that like and subscribe button as we're going to go ahead and get into it. All right, guys, so I figured the best way to go about this video is just to tell you my story, because a lot of us, probably some of you guys have either gone through this yourself, or you're in the midst of the process of maybe upgrading your boots, or you're just getting started. And so hopefully, just telling my story will kind of help you guys out, make a better informed decision. So when I started doing adventure riding, I just started using my normal civilian boots, and I could tell very quickly that these just were not working out. The most dangerous thing about these are the laces. These can get stuck in your drivetrain and cause all sorts of problems. They'll take your shoes with you. They might even take your leg with you. The other thing too is you've got below the ankle protection here, and it's really only abrasion protection because this is leather. But in terms of impact protection, zero. There's really no, impact resistance, plastics on this at all, period. The other thing too is the sole is way too soft for off-road pegs. You can see they just got absolutely torn to pieces. It also does not provide support when you're standing up, so your arches get absolutely destroyed with these boots. So if you're riding anything like this, you guys, hiking boots, construction boots, I really recommend that you upgrade to at the very least, something like this, like a touring boot. So from there, I got online and I checked out several different boots, and I ended up going with the Forma Adventure ADV Tourer, just because I didn't feel like I needed the protection that this boot offered quite yet. I was still a beginner and I was still kind of figuring out the bike, and the off-roading that I did do was pretty much like forest roads, and that's, this boot can handle forest roads for sure. So the Forma Adventure is it's a pretty decent boot. It actually comes with full grain leather. Full grain leather is much better than genuine leather. It's going to perform a lot better out in the weather. It also stands up a little bit better against impacts and abrasion too as well. Aside from that, it's made with a bunch of different synthetic materials and also some hard plastics, some impact resistant plastics too as well. So starting up at the top here, you're going to have a molded piece of plastic that sits in here for minimal shin protection. This is not going to provide you the kind of protection you're going to get with an MX boot, but it certainly gives you a little bit of protection up here. The other thing too is you're dealing with a lower boot too, and I'll get into the problems of that later. You also get shift pads here and brake pads that are going to be on both boots. Some adventure boots only come with the shift side. This one actually comes with both. It's really nice. You've got a small little deflector here that's going to help deflect rocks away from your buckle here. By the way, this features a single buckle system with a hook and loop Velcro, and then up top here you've got just your little Velcro strap here. These are replaceable, so if this does get damaged, you can replace that buckle. The other feature with this too is on the inside they have kind of a heat resistant piece of leather here, I believe, or suede or something like that. This also serves as a grip against your bike via this little pattern here. It's not just for looks, it actually is supposed to help with grip. The other thing too is this boot is crazy comfortable, you guys. Unbelievably comfortable. You can see that the middle sole here, the midsole, flexes very nicely, providing a lot of comfort. The other feature too is This boot comes with their own little waterproof membrane. It's called, I believe it's called Drytex or something like that. And, you know, I wish it came all the way up to the top of the boot, but, you know, it comes up a decent way, and it's certainly better than any hiking boot is going to provide you. I haven't put this thing like directly in water and tested it, but it's kept my feet dry during some pretty torrential downpours. Of course, I went with the boot under, so I had my pants kind of coming down, and that always helps a lot too. Just a couple things to keep in mind. This boot is not a true fit. It's typically one size larger than what you actually are, so I made that mistake. I should have gotten probably like a 42. I ended up getting a 44. And this thing is huge. I have to put an extra little insole in here to get my feet to fit right. The other thing too is if you have small calves like I do, this will never, ever fit your calf perfectly. You're gonna have like a ½ inch sitting in there. I have teeny calves, by the way. I've got really small calves. One other thing that a complaint I have here too is this little buckle is very, very weak. As you can see here, I've had to re-sew it a couple times to get it to stay in place. Yeah, it just is what it is. So yeah, you know, I went with this probably a good 4 to 6 months. Just about that. And I had a couple episodes out in the field that just kind of scared me. One of them was the bike fell on my boot, and thankfully it was a very soft ground. I think it was a bunch of leaves underneath. And then of course the KTM 390 Adventure is a pretty light bike, so I did feel a little bit of pain in the foot, but I was able to pull my foot out. It actually came out of the boot. That's how loose this thing is. And I was able to push the bike up and retrieve my boot. But you know, I kind of just was like, you know, shoot, you know, if that was gravel underneath, that probably would have been a different story. I had a second episode where this was much worse. I had my shin came forward and just smashed into the foot peg, and the height of this is such that it didn't provide any protection at all. It just went right above it, and I smashed my shin right into it. That was absolutely painful. That was the catalyst. That was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back. And I haven't completely gotten rid of these because I still use them if you know, if I'm going to be doing like a short road trip with hardly any off-road, or here in Japan, if I know I'm going to have to take my boots off, then, you know, to go inside, then I'll typically go with these. So I don't plan on getting rid of these. They're a decent boot. They're actually pretty good for what they do. But as I got a better rider and I started shifting more into off-road, so like right now I probably do, when I'm at home and I'm doing my trails here around town, it's probably 60-40 off-road to on-road. And so I felt the need more so to get even better protection, and I started taking more risks off-road too. And so yeah, I just pulled the trigger. I was hoping I could find a good deal on these Alpinestars Tech 7s because they're not cheap, and the Drystar is not cheap. And I knew I wanted the Drystar just because I knew I was going to be doing some longer trips, and I wanted that waterproof protection. Certainly a membrane that went a lot higher than this too as well. So the Tech 7, like the Adventure Tour, features full grain leather. You're going to find that pretty much wrapping your entire foot in full grain leather. It's really, you know, at the level of protection that it provides, is probably one of the most comfortable boots I've ever put my feet in. And I've put my feet in a lot of boots, testing them out and making sure that this is the one that I wanted. Very, very comfortable boot. Then again, it's not going to be as flexible as this boot, that's for sure. But I have walked around in these boots all day, and I've been okay. It hasn't bothered me. Again, so this is a full grain leather mixed with some really hard impact resistance plastics, TPU. It's a 4-buckle system, as you can see here, and they're offset. So the 2 middle go to the right and these top 2 go to the left. So that's just going to make it much more secure, decrease the chances of this thing coming loose on accident. So really what sets this thing apart is the lateral rigidity that this thing, this is what you want. You do not want to be able to push this back and forth like you can the ADV Tour. This is ridiculous. In fact, there are even some adventure boots out there with the name Adventure in them. I mean, this is at least ADV Tour, but there are adventure boots out there labeled as Adventure, and the lateral rigidity is just nothing. It's zero. So if you are looking for a boot to give you superior protection off-road, that is the #1 thing that you want to check. You've got dual hinges on both sides, okay? You got a hinge here, a biomechanical hinge here that's supposed to mimic the human ankle, and you've got another biomechanical hinge on this side too that allows for that kind of flexibility back and forward, but will prevent that lateral movement. So the other really awesome feature too is this shin protector is very thick, incredibly thick. So any type of foot peg that's going to be coming here, you're not going to feel it at all. In fact, you can look on my boot right here, you can see the most wear and tear that's happened in this shin area is right here. I've hit my my pegs with this, I've hit branches, everything. And you can see that the level this boot just goes, the ADV Tour just goes right underneath that. So, you know, again, if you're going to be doing some more gnarlier stuff, then you're certainly going to want something like this. Now, I'm telling you guys, I don't do super duper gnarly stuff. I still do mostly forest roads with the occasional kind of rocky road there. But, you know, if anything, I got branches in the way, things that are hitting my boots and stuff like that. And I just feel like I have so much more of a peace of mind wearing these boots than I do these when I'm going off-road. Again, the overwhelming majority of, you know, motorcycle injuries on off-road are at the knee and below. So you really do not want to be going with something like this if you're going to be doing some hardcore off-road riding. I mean, to be honest, you guys, even if you're not going to be doing hardcore off-road riding, I would still use these boots because they're going to offer you a lot of protection. And just because you're not off-road doesn't mean you're not going to drop your bike, doesn't mean you're not going to fall off, doesn't mean you're not going to get into an accident. And if you get in an accident, any kind of an accident, whether you drop the bike or you get hit by a car, you tell me which you know, which boot you would rather be wearing. Certainly I would pick this 10 times out of 10. So unlike the ADV Tour, this thing clamps down on my calf really nice. You can see in here, you've got the CE rating. Believe it or not, you guys, actually, both of these boots are CE level 2 rated, despite the differences, the vast differences in protection. So just an FYI, the CE ratings when it comes to adventure boots is virtually useless. It does not tell you much. In any case, you've got your membrane here. This is their Drystar membrane system. I have tested this out in torrential rainpours. Perfect, man. It's absolutely beautiful. It does the job really, really nice. And it comes up quite high, actually. So you've only got just a little bit of that lip there. So just a fantastic. Now keep in mind, this is not Gore-Tex, so it's not going to breathe as well as Gore-Tex, and it gets pretty stinking hot in the summertime. But again, it's just something you have to trade off. It's that comfort level that you're trading off for that superior protection. I do not use an insole in this. I use an insole for virtually every shoe that I walk in because I've got some back issues, but for this thing, I don't need it. That's how freaking comfortable this boot is. You've got really, really nice heel protection back here too, compared to what you've got on this. This, I would like to have been a little bit harder. I mean, it is pretty hard here, but you do have calf protection here. And then you've got a really nice sole that I can actually be replaced. I can pick these up pretty cheap. I think around 50 bucks actually for one sole. So about $100 to get them both replaced. And you can take it to your local cobbler and they can just rip this thing off and glue it on from what I hear. So just fantastic. Of course, all of these are replaceable on both sides. So you can replace all of these on the fly if you need them. Now, again, it is not void of any negative aspects. One of the negative things about this boot is, again, it gets very hot, and it being black, you know, that black body radiation, it's just going to soak in all that heat and get really, really hot. You may want to consider going with a lighter colored boot. I got this one used, so this is the color I got. Definitely, I recommend getting white. It's going to reflect a lot of that heat back and keep your foot cool. One other complaint about this boot too is the sound. These things are so loud. Now, this is actually very quiet, and the reason why is because I went ahead and sprayed. This is the loudest part right here. I sprayed some chain grease like right up inside there. Just got the little hose up there and just sprayed it once. That's it. I've done it once and I've never had to do it again. And it actually takes that squeaking away. It'll also loosen this up quite a bit too, allow for a lot more play. And then finally, the thing you have to keep in mind too with these is that as you use them, they will get a little bit softer. Again, this thing is very comfortable, but walking around in it all day can cause some discomfort. Not down here, this is fine. I felt fine down here. It's mainly up in this area and down in here where you've got a lot of pressure on your lower foot around that inside ankle area. So definitely consider that if you're not really doing a whole lot of adventure off-road riding, single track stuff, crazy gnarly stuff, then maybe this is overkill for you. Maybe you can go something in between these two boots, like maybe perhaps the Forma Adventure boot or the CD Adventure boot. But again, just know that there is no unicorn boot, especially in the world of adventure riding with how broad that riding genre is. And I've found a really, really good balance between these two boots. I have a use case for both of these, and I found that they pretty much get the job done. So, you know, I definitely recommend, you know, if you're going to be doing adventure riding and you're all over the place like I am, you do quite a bit of off-road, quite a bit of on-road, it might be a good idea to pick up, you know, something like this for when you've got those easy days, and for those harder days, definitely, you know, pick up something like an MX boot. And if you're going to go with an MX boot, you guys, I'm telling you, and you're really worried about comfort, this is the boot to go with. All right, you guys, well, that is it. I really hope this video was helpful. You know, definitely shopping for boots in the adventure riding genre is not an easy task because of how broad of a riding category it is. We are riding everywhere on all types of terrain. So definitely really think about the kind of riding that you do before you consider the next boot that you buy. I think this really, really will help you kind of narrow down your focus because there are so many boot reviews out there. In any case, I hope this review really helped you guys kind of pick a boot. Maybe it was one of these boots that you decided to go with, or maybe you decided to go with something else. In any case, I really do hope this helped you guys out. Okay, so with that, until next time, this is ADVinJapan, out.